Back here in Indy as our coverage continues from the Scouting Combine. Joe Musso alongside Brady Quinn, Jamie Eisenberg, Josina Anderson here to talk about all the players of tomorrow. And let's talk about the stat that we really tend to drool over that maybe we shouldn't. 40-yard dash, always flashy stat, the straight line speed.
The track star.
Guys want to be 4.3, guys want to be 4.2. But Jamie, when you look at this and project a guy over a 17-game season, how much does that number really translate to what we end up seeing?
It doesn't really at all. You know, I'm looking at the top fastest times in the 40 for wide receivers. John Ross still holds the record at 4.22. Then it's Rondell Menendez in 1999. Don't remember him. Jerome Mathis in 2005. Dree Archer 2014. These guys are all sub 4.3s. Marquise Goodwin obviously has had a decent career. We know about Henry Ruggs. So, you go down the list. Jacoby Ford. It just doesn't really translate, I think, to what these guys do in terms of being complete wide receivers. And so, you see some names on here, obviously, that you'll remember them. Chris Johnson, obviously, is a different category because of the position that he plays. But I think you just look at this doesn't necessarily indicate if this guy can be a wide receiver, a number one wide receiver, and a difference maker. It just doesn't really matter.
I think I saw a stat. Jarvis Landry ran like the fourth slowest 40 time for wide receivers in the past.
Marcus Colston was, they were trying to move tight end.
Jerry Rice famously.
Yeah, I mean, he's been to 5 Pro Bowls. I mean, it's just like, here's the hard thing about fast guys like this. That's what we're talking about. They're fast. Not fast. Like fast like your 4.4 guys, maybe like high 4.3s. When you get in the 4.2s, you're fast. Those guys have a really hard time transitioning in out of cuts or starting. Because once they start going, they are hard to be able to get to transition. And that's the biggest thing for these fast guys is there's an art to playing, wide receiver and the way you go about route running. It's harder for those guys to be able to work on that art unless they're just running straight line speed, downfield, deep post, across the field. That limits what you can do. So it plays a role in all this.
So to me, it's not so much about the speed and hitting 4.2 and 4.3. When I'm watching the 40, I'm watching how they're running it. And their form is what tells me a lot about their athleticism and how that's going to translate. And that it's that coupled with the drills that also lets me know. Now, here's the thing. I remember a couple years ago, I was at USC, and OBJ was there, and Antonio Brown was there. And this is beyond the 40, but just to add to how these two things go together. Obviously, AB has his speed, but when I watched him do this cone drill or what have you, I don't think I've seen anybody's feet do that agility,
fluidity,
like anything. And even if I had never seen AB do anything else, I'm watching those two things, and the combination of that does tell me a lot. So it's not that by itself. And yes, we get awed and we're amazed by the time. But for me, I'm looking, what the form is. Are they tight? I'm looking for the north-south, all of these things that let me know how you move in open space as well. You know what I mean?
Running fast, but also running easy.
Yes.
And it's interesting you bring up the three-cone drill, because think about a guy that ran fast but struggled in the three-cone drill, DK Metcalf, and we know now he's trying to compete in the Olympics. Obviously, he can run. He's a little bit different than the John Rosses and the Jacoby Fords of the world because he's a big receiver, but also he struggled in the three-cone drill. And so that's something, that he still has things to work on, can move fast, but he can do it in a different size because he's so big.
Well, and that's where you don't put him in a position where he needs to run short, quick routes like that, right? You work to his strengths. I mean, Antonio Brown has such quick twitch in his body, and he might not be able to open up the same way DK Metcalf has, but it doesn't matter. Get the ball in his hands quick, then you watch what he can do with it afterwards. I mean, that's how you kind of look at those guys, whereas Odell strikes me as more of the smooth, longer strider. I would imagine if they each raced at 100, Odell probably would win. I don't know about now, but I would say when they both were coming out, my money would be on Odell Beckham.
But it's also funny, too, just going back to Odell in the year that he came out, and not knowing anything about his mom, I could tell by the way that he ran that it was also in his DNA. And it's not just that, too. We talk about the three-cone drill. We talk about the 40. But it's also, when I'm looking at their tape on YouTube, I'm looking at the second level. And if there's really a noticeable, detectable shift in speed when they're picking up in that second level, that also tells me not just how good you are, but how you separate from the other players at your position.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.